The city had been choking me. Horns blaring, deadlines stacking up like unpaid bills, screens buzzing in my face like flies. I needed out, needed air that didn't taste like exhaust. 3 days alone in the Cascades, just me, a backpack, and the promise of a clear head. I'd chosen the Devil's Spine, a remote trail in Washington's wilderness, 22 miles of nothing but dirt and trees. No people, no signal, no distractions. The name felt ominous, but my mind was too cluttered to care. I just wanted silence. I rolled into the trailhead at dawn, my Subaru crunching over gravel, tires kicking up dust that glowed in the weak morning light. The air hit me like a slap, crisp, sharp, laced with pine and wet earth. My chest loosened a fraction, the knot of stress unraveling just enough to breathe. The sky was heavy, gray clouds sagging low, teasing rain but holding back. I hoisted my pack, 40 pounds of gear, dehydrated meals, and a worn copy of Walden, for when I felt like pretending I was deep. The trail marker was half swallowed by ferns, its splintered sign barely legible. Devil's Spine, 22 miles, no facilities. I felt a flicker of excitement, like I was stepping into a world that didn't know my name. The first few miles were a gift. Each step, each crunch of boots on pine needles peeled away the city's weight. My thoughts, usually a tangled mess of work emails and to-do lists, started to quiet. The forest was a cathedral of Douglas firs, their branches weaving a green canopy that dimmed the world to an emerald haze. Moss coated everything, thick and soft, like the woods were growing a pelt. I felt small, but alive, my heart steady, my mind clearing like fog burning off a lake. This was why I came, to be nobody, to just be. By mile 3, the trail tightened, snaking through a ravine where the air turned cold and damp. The path was a mess, slick rocks, roots like traps waiting to snag my ankles. I leaned into my trekking poles, their clicks echoing off the stone walls. The silence was deeper here, almost oppressive, broken only by the occasional drip of water or a rustle in the underbrush. A chipmunk, I told myself, but my pulse quickened anyway. My mind flashed to stories, bears, cougars, things that didn't belong in a city boy's head. I pushed the thoughts down, focusing on the rhythm of my steps. Around noon, I stopped at a creek to refill my water bottle. The water was so clear it looked fake, tumbling over black stones smoothed by time. I knelt, the cold biting my fingers as I dunked my bottle. My reflection stared back, tired eyes under a sweat-stained cap. I felt a pang of loneliness, but it was the good kind, the kind that makes you feel free. Then I caught it. A smell, faint but wrong, like spoiled meat left in the sun. My stomach twisted and I froze, sniffing the air. It vanished as quick as it came, swept away by a breeze that shook the ferns. Dead animal, I thought, but my hands trembled as I capped the bottle. I didn't like how my mind lingered on it, how it whispered, something's not right. The trail climbed after the creek, switchbacks carving up a steep ridge. My calves burned, sweat beading under my cap, my breath puffing out in little clouds. I was tired but determined, my mind chanting, keep going, you're fine, this is what you wanted. At the top, the trees parted, revealing a view that stole my breath. The Cascades sprawled below, peaks piercing the mist, their slopes drowning in green. It was stunning, but a chill crawled up my spine. The silence wasn't just quiet, it was heavy, like the forest was holding its breath. No birds, no wind, just my pulse hammering in my ears. I felt exposed, like I'd stepped onto a stage I didn't belong on. I shook it off. I checked my map. 8 miles in, halfway to Blackthorn Hollow, a flat spot near a spring where I'd camp. The name sounded like it belonged in a horror flick, but I pictured a cozy fire, my tent. I'd make it by dusk if I kept moving. I took a swig of water, chewed a granola bar, its sweetness grounding me, and started down the ridge. My legs felt heavy, but my mind was sharp, buzzing with the thrill of being out here, alone, untethered. Then I saw it, a cedar, maybe 50 feet tall, snapped clean in half. Not fallen, not rotted, but broken, the top dangling by a shred of bark, its splintered core pale and raw. I stopped dead, my boots scuffing the dirt. My heart kicked up, a cold sweat prickling my neck. What the hell does that? Wind wouldn't, lightning would have charred it. I touched the brake, sap sticking to my fingers. It was fresh, too fresh. My mind raced. Rock slide? Earthquake? But there was no debris, no cracks in the earth. Something strong did this. Something that didn't make sense. I wanted to run, but my legs felt rooted. My brain screaming, "This isn't right." I forced myself to move, my thoughts spiraling. "You're overreacting. It's just a tree." But my gut churned, a primal warning I couldn't shake. The trail dipped back into dense forest, the air thick, like breathing through a wet cloth. That smell hit again. Rotten, sour, gone in a flash. My skin prickled, my mind conjuring images of predators I didn't want to name. I noticed tracks in the mud, long, narrow, with claw marks like a rake dragged through the dirt. I crouched, my heart pounding so loud I could hear it. Not a bear, not a cougar. Too big, too deliberate. I snapped a photo with my phone, my hands shaking, then remembered. There was no signal, no one to show it to. Just me, alone, with whatever made those marks. I stood, my legs wobbly, my mind a tug-of-war between logic and fear. Keep moving. Get to camp. The trail was a tunnel now, branches clawing at my pack, the light fading fast. My thoughts churned. You wanted solitude? You got it. Now deal. Then I heard it. A low, guttural rasp, like a blade scraping bone. It came from my left, deep in the trees. My blood went cold, my breath catching. I froze, poles dangling, my mind screaming, "Run," while my body refused. The sound stopped, but the silence was worse, like the forest was sizing me up. I felt small, watched, like prey. "Is anyone there?" I called, my voice thin and shaky. Stupid, but the quiet was crushing me. No answer, just the drip of water somewhere. My hands tightened on my poles, my mind racing. There? Cougar? Something else? I started walking faster, my boots slapping mud. The rasp came again, closer, paired with a crack of branches. Something was out there, matching my pace. My heart thundered, my thoughts a jumble. Don't look. Don't stop. Just move. Fear clawed at me, but I clung to the thought of camp, of fire, of safety. The trail opened into a clearing and I stopped, gasping, my chest tight. The sky was a dull purple, the light nearly gone. My hands shook as I dropped my pack, fumbling for my headlamp. The beam cut through the dusk, catching glints of wet leaves. I swept it around, expecting eyes, teeth, something. Nothing. But that smell was back, choking, like death itself. My mind screamed, "Run," but my body was heavy, my thoughts tangled. "You're alone. No one's coming. Get a grip." I forced myself to focus. Camp, Blackthorn Hollow. You're close. I slung my pack on, the weight steadying me, and pushed forward, my headlamp trembling in my grip. The trail was barely a path now, a faint line through the undergrowth. Then I saw it. A deer carcass, fresh. Its ribcage splayed open, blood pooling black in the dirt. The head was gone, severed clean, like a saw took it. My stomach lurched, bile rising. I gagged, the smell of rot and blood overwhelming. My mind reeled. What does this? What kind of animal? I stopped myself. Not an animal. Fear gripped me, cold and sharp, my thoughts spiraling. You're not alone out here. I backed away, my boots slipping, my headlamp darting wildly. The trees seemed to close in, their branches like fingers. Then the scream came. A high, keening wail, not human, not animal, but something wrong. It wasn't close, but it was too close. My legs moved before my brain carrying me down the trail, away from the carcass, away from that sound. Fear drove me, my thoughts a frantic loop. Get to the hollow, get to camp. You're not dying out here. Branches snagged my jacket, my breath ragged, my pack bouncing. The scream didn't come again, but the silence was heavier, like whatever made it was waiting, watching. I ran until I tripped, crashing into the dirt, pine needles in my mouth. My headlamp rolled away, its beam slicing the dark. I crawled to it, my hands shaking, my mind a mess. Get up. Keep going. "You're not prey." I grabbed the light, swept it around. Nothing but trees, shadows, and that oppressive quiet. My heart pounded, my body screaming to run, but I forced myself to stand, to breathe. I checked my map, hands trembling. Blackthorn Hollow was close, a quarter mile maybe. I could make it. I had to. The trail was a faint ribbon now, but I followed it, my headlamp catching flashes of moss, roots, something wet I didn't look at. My thoughts were a mantra. Almost there. Set up camp. Build a fire. Fire would keep it away, whatever it was. My legs burned, my lungs ached, but I felt a spark of defiance. I wasn't going to die out here, especially not on day one. The forest opened, and there it was. Blackthorn Hollow. A flat clearing by a trickling spring, the ground soft with needles. I dropped my pack, my body trembling with adrenaline and exhaustion. My mind was a storm. Fear, relief, doubt. But I forced it to focus. I pitched my tent, hands clumsy, stakes driven deep into the earth. The spring's gurgle was a small comfort, a reminder of something normal. I gathered wood, my headlamp darting nervously, my thoughts on edge. Is it still out there? I built a fire, the flames pushing back the dark, smoke curling into the night. I sat by it, my knife in hand, my heart still racing. The forest was silent, but I felt it. Something watching, waiting. I was safe for now, but my mind wouldn't settle. What was that thing? I didn't know, but I wasn't alone anymore. The fire's glow carved a fragile circle of safety around my tent, its flickering light dancing across the trees that loomed like silent sentinels. My breath puffed out in shallow bursts, each one a reminder that I was still here, still alive. The knife in my hand felt pitiful, its blade catching the firelight as I gripped it tighter, my knuckles white. The spring's soft gurgle was the only sound besides. But it did little to ease the weight in my chest. My skin prickled, not from the cold, but from the unshakable feeling of being watched. My mind was reeling, replaying that carcass, those tracks. What the hell is out there? I didn't want to know, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. I forced myself to eat, tearing open a packet of dehydrated chili with trembling hands. The smell of it, earthy, spicy, artificial, clashed with the forest's damp musk, grounding me for a moment. I chewed slowly, the texture gritty, the taste sharp on my tongue. Each bite was a battle against the nausea still lingering from the deer's mangled remains. I washed it down with water from the spring, cold enough to ache in my teeth, and tried to focus on the fire's warmth licking at my face. But my senses were on edge, straining for any hint of that thing. The air carried a faint metallic tang, like blood or rust, and I couldn't tell if it was real or my fear playing tricks. My intuition screamed, "You're not safe here." I scanned the darkness beyond the firelight, my headlamp off to save battery. The forest was a wall of shadows, branches swaying slightly, though I felt no breeze. My ears strained, catching every snap, every rustle. My heart lurched, my body tensing like a coiled spring. I gripped the knife, its handle slick with sweat, and stood, my legs shaky but ready to bolt. "Who's there?" I called, my voice thin and shaky, swallowed by the night. No answer, just the fire's pop and the spring's trickle. I swept my gaze across the trees, my pulse hammering so loud it drowned out thought. Nothing moved, but the silence felt alive, like it was holding its breath, waiting for me to slip. I sat back down, forcing my breathing to slow, my mind wrestling with panic. "You're tired. You're imagining things. get through the night. I added more wood to the fire, the flames flaring briefly, casting jagged shadows that made my stomach twist. My thoughts spiraled. That scream wasn't a bear. Bears don't snap trees. Bears don't leave tracks like that. I pulled out my phone. The screen's glow harsh against the dark. The photo of the tracks stared back. Those long, claw-like gashes in the mud. My thumb hovered over the delete button, as if erasing it could erase the truth. But I couldn't. Something ancient prowled out there, and I'd stumbled into its world. I crawled into my tent, zipping it shut with a shaky hand, the nylon walls feeling flimsy as paper. Inside, the air was close, smelling of synthetic fabric and my own sweat. I lay on my sleeping pad, the ground hard beneath me, my knife beside my head. Every sound outside amplified, creak of a branch. My mind painted horrors, eyes glinting in the dark, claws tearing through the tent, that scream ripping through the night. I forced my eyes shut, my breath shallow, willing sleep to come. But my body buzzed with adrenaline, my heart refusing to slow. You're safe in here, I told myself, but the lie tasted bitter. Sleep came in fits, broken by nightmares of running, of being chased by something I couldn't see. I woke with a start, my mouth dry, my body slick with sweat. The fire was low, glowing faintly through the tent's mesh window. The air felt heavier, thick with that rotten smell again, stronger now, curling into my nostrils like a warning. I sat up, my heart pounding, my hand fumbling for the knife. Then I heard it, gravelly and wet, like gravel dragged across bone, just beyond the clearing. My blood turned to ice, my breath catching in my throat. It was closer than before, deliberate, like it wanted me to hear. I unzipped the tent a fraction, the sound deafening in the silence, and peered out. The fire's glow was nearly gone, the clearing dim and ghostly. My headlamp beam cut through the dark, trembling as I swept it across the trees. Nothing. But the smell was choking now, like death soaked in earth. My inner voice screamed, "Move!" But my body froze, torn between hiding and running. Then, a shadow shifted, just beyond the light, tall, wrong, its edges blurring into the trees. My heart stopped, my mind screaming, "It's here." I ducked back inside, zipping the tent shut, my hands shaking so bad I fumbled the pull. My thoughts were a frantic loop. It knows I'm here. It's waiting. I sat there, knife in hand, listening as the rasp came again. Closer, circling the clearing. My chest tightened, my lungs burning as I held my breath. The air felt charged, like a storm about to break. I tasted fear, metallic and sharp, like blood on my tongue. My skin crawled, my every hair standing on end, my body screaming danger. Then a new sound, like something massive stepping on the earth. My mind flashed to the broken cedar, the deer's severed head. This thing is strong. It's fast. You can't outrun it. I clutched the knife, my thoughts spiraling. Stay quiet. Stay still. Maybe it'll leave. Minutes crawled by, each one an eternity. The rasping stopped, but the silence was worse, heavy with intent. I forced myself to breathe. My chest aching, my mind racing for a plan. Fire. It didn't like the fire. I unzipped the tent again, inching out, my body low, my headlamp off to avoid drawing attention. The embers were nearly dead, but I tossed on the last of my wood, coaxing the flames back to life. The light flared, pushing back the dark, and I felt a flicker of hope. But the smell lingered, and my intuition whispered, "It's still out there." I stayed by the fire, feeding it twigs, my eyes darting to every shadow. The night stretched on, endless, the cold seeping into my bones. My hands ached from gripping the knife, my body tense, ready to spring. I thought of the city, of traffic and deadlines, and laughed. I'd wanted escape, and now I was trapped, hunted by something I couldn't name. My mind churned. Why me? Why here? But the forest didn't answer. It just watched, as if the trees were listening. Dawn broke slowly, gray light filtering through the canopy, turning the world to ash. I hadn't slept, not really. Just drifted in and out of a haze, my body wired, my mind frayed. The fire was a pile of smoldering coals, its heat long gone. The smell was fainter now, but it clung to the air, a reminder of the night. I packed up fast, my hands clumsy, my thoughts urgent. Get out, get back to the trailhead. The plan was simple. 14 miles back to my car. No stops, no rest. I didn't care about Walden or solitude anymore. I just wanted out. I hit the trail at first light, my pack jarring my shoulders. The forest felt different now, hostile, its beauty tainted by fear. Every sound, branch snapping, sent my heart racing. My senses were raw, hyper-alert, catching every detail. The damp chill of the air, the sour taste of fear in my mouth. The way the trees seemed to lean in, watching. My instincts were a constant hum, urging me to move faster, to not look back. But I did, every few steps. My headlamp long since traded for daylight, my eyes scanning for that shadow, that thing. The trail climbed out of the hollow, steep and slick with dew. My calves screamed, my breath ragged. But I pushed on, driven by the memory of that scream, that carcass. My mind replayed it in vivid detail. The deer's ribs splayed like broken fingers, the tracks too big for anything natural. I felt small, exposed, like a mouse under a hawk's gaze. The air grew colder as I gained altitude, the pines thinning, giving way to rocky outcrops. I stopped to catch my breath, my hands on my knees, my chest heaving. The silence was back, that heavy, unnatural quiet. My skin tingled, my gut twisting. It's here. I heard it before I saw it, not from behind, but ahead, somewhere in the mist that clung to the ridge. My heart stopped, my body frozen. I crouched behind a boulder, my knife useless in my shaking hand. The growl came again, closer, paired with the crunch of something heavy moving through the underbrush. My mind screamed, "It's cutting you off." I tasted bile, my throat tight, my thoughts a frantic mess. You can't go back. You can't stay here. I peered over the boulder, my eyes straining through the fog. A shape moved. Tall, thin, wrong. Its limbs too long, its movements jerky like a puppet on frayed strings. My breath caught, my heart pounding so loud I thought it would hear. I ducked down, my back against the rock, my mind racing for options. The trail was the only way out, but it was there, waiting. I thought of the map. There was a side path, a faint line veering west toward a creek, longer but maybe safer. My instincts screamed, "Go!" and I obeyed, slipping off the trail, my boots silent on the moss. The forest swallowed me, branches snagging my jacket, my pack catching on roots. I moved low, fast, my heart in my throat, my senses alive with terror. The air smelled of damp earth and that faint, rotten stink, following me like a curse. The side path was barely a trail, overgrown and treacherous. I tripped twice, my hands scraping rock, my knees bruised. Each fall sent my pulse spiking, my mind screaming, "It's coming. It's close." I heard it again. Too heavy for a deer, too deliberate for wind. My headlamp was useless in the daylight, but I wished for its beam, for anything to cut through the fog. My mouth was dry, my tongue coated with the taste of fear and dirt. I pushed on, my legs burning, my thoughts a desperate chant. Keep moving. Don't stop. The creek appeared like a lifeline, its water rushing loud enough to mask my steps. I knelt by it, splashing my face, the cold shocking my senses awake. My reflection stared back, pale, eyes wide, a stranger's face. I filled my bottle, my hands shaking, the water's chill numbing my fingers. I felt a flicker of hope. Water meant life, meant distance from that thing. But as I stood, the growl came again, low and guttural, from the trees across the creek. My heart sank, my body trembling. It's tracking you. I didn't think, just ran, following the creek downstream, my boots slipping on wet stones. The forest blurred, a green and gray haze, my breath ragged, my pack bouncing. I felt like prey, my mind flooded with images of the deer, its head gone, its blood soaking the earth. The growl followed, distant but persistent. Never close but never far, a constant threat. My intuition screamed, "It's playing with you." I pushed harder, my legs screaming, my lungs burning. The trail was gone now, just a faint path through the underbrush. I didn't care, I just needed distance. Needed to outrun whatever was hunting me. Hours passed, the sun climbing higher, the fog burning off. I stopped, gasping, my body spent. The creek was wider here, the forest more open. But the silence was back, heavy and oppressive. I leaned against a tree, its bark rough under my palms, and checked my map. I was miles off course, deep in uncharted woods, but closer to the trailhead than I'd thought, maybe 8 miles. My heart lifted, then sank as that smell hit again, sharp and rotten, like a warning. I spun, my eyes scanning the trees. Nothing, but my gut feeling screamed, "It's close." I moved again, faster, my boots pounding the earth, my pack a dead weight. The forest seemed to fight me, roots crunching, branches clawing, roots tripping. My senses were raw, the air cold in my lungs, the taste of sweat on my lips, the smell of pine and rot. Then I heard it, a scream. That same keening wail, closer than ever. My blood froze, my legs faltering. It was ahead, cutting me off again. My mind raced. It knows where you're going. I veered east, off the path, crashing through ferns, my heart a drum in my chest. The terrain grew rougher, rocky slopes and fallen logs slowing me down, wood snapping underfoot. My body ached, my mind frayed, but I pushed on, driven by raw fear. The scream came again, behind me now, and I realized it was hurting me, forcing me deeper into the wild. My thoughts were a mess. You're not getting out. It's faster, it's stronger, but I couldn't stop. I stumbled into a clearing, the ground soft with moss, the air thick with that stench. I stopped, gasping, my hands on my knees. My eyes caught something, a pile of bones. Animal, maybe human, scattered like a warning. My stomach lurched, my mind screaming, "You're next." I ran again, blind, my legs moving on instinct. The forest closed in, the light fading as clouds rolled in, heavy with the promise of rain. My senses were drowning. The thud of my boots, my breath, a frantic cadence of puffs and wheezes. The smell of rot and wet earth. I felt it watching, felt its presence like a weight on my chest. Then I saw it. A flash of movement, tall and thin, darting between trees. My heart stopped, my body frozen. It was fast, too fast, its limbs bending wrong, its shape blurring into the shadows. My mind screamed, "Run, now!" I sprinted, my pack jarring, my lungs burning. The trailhead was close, I could feel it, could almost see my car's dusty hood. The scream came again, high, keening wail reverberating, closer, a sound that tore at my soul. I didn't look back, couldn't. My legs gave out and I fell, rolling down a slope. Rocks cutting my hands, my pack twisting. I hit the bottom, gasping, my body a wreck. I scrambled to my feet, my headlamp lost, my knife somewhere in the dirt. The trailhead was there, just through the trees, my car glinting in the fading light. I stumbled forward, my vision blurring, my heart pounding. The smell was everywhere, choking, the air thick with it. Heavy, rotting scent carried on the wind. I heard it behind me, that rasp, that heavy step. My mind was a single thought: get to the car. I reached it, fumbling for my keys, my hands slick with blood and sweat. The scream came again. So close, I felt it in my bones. I yanked the door open, threw myself inside, and slammed it shut, locking it. My breath was ragged, my body shaking, my mind a storm of fear and relief. I started the engine, the roar a lifeline. I didn't look back, didn't dare. The gravel crunched under my tires, the forest shrinking in my rear view. My heart still raced, my hands trembling on the wheel. The smell lingered, faint but there, like it had seeped into me. My mind wouldn't settle, replaying every sound, every shadow. I was out, but I wasn't free. That thing was still out there, ancient and hungry, and I knew, deep in my gut, it wasn't done with me.